And I know you mentioned earlier, you mentioned maybe a quarterback, right? Is there a guy that you think if is available if the Vikings were to go that route? So this is a two-part question for you, Matthew. What's the percentage that the Minnesota Vikings may target a quarterback at 12? And if that was to happen, is there a guy that you think the organization, they kind of like inside more than others?
Yeah, I think that the percentage is low because the way that they've set up their timeline with Kirk Cousins' contract extension and his no trade clause, it becomes a little difficult to draft a quarterback and potentially have to sit that guy for 2 years. Then you're wasting that all valuable rookie quarterback contract. However, what this draft has is the ultimate project quarterback in Malik Willis. And what's really hard to figure out is how much the league actually values Malik Willis. Like there's probably 5 teams that you could make an argument for before the Vikings pick, hey, you should go with a quarterback here. Teams like even Detroit should look down the road at their quarterback position. The Giants, if they're not sold on Daniel Jones, they have 2 picks there. And how about Washington right before the Vikings? I mean, that team does not have a long-term quarterback solution unless they think Carson Wentz is really that guy. But if the league is saying in front of the Vikings, and we're not really sure, or we need these other things, I think it's very hard to pass up someone with those raw tools. I mean, Malik Willis was one of the best runners in college football. I think I saw a PFF stat that he led the entire nation in broken tackles or something as a quarterback. I mean, it's just crazy what he can do with his legs, which I think we see more and more of these toolsy quarterbacks turning out a couple of years into their careers, like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes. Those are things that, sorry to use this cliche, but you can't develop. You can't teach someone how to have that arm and that skill. Beyond that, though, I don't think there's a good argument for the Vikings to take a quarterback. And that's why I put it at a low percentage, at least at number 12. Now, where it might get interesting is if someone like Sam Howell, who is the youngest quarterback out of the 5 that are projected to be in the first or early second, and had a really, really good 2020 with a better supporting cast, also threw the hardest football at the NFL Combine. So he's got arm talent. That becomes kind of intriguing to me. The idea of, would you trade back into the end of the first, like the Ravens once did for Lamar Jackson, or the Vikings once did for Teddy Bridgewater, if you were looking for a future guy who has some raw tools, but also needs time to develop. I still think that it's kind of a long shot, especially since so many teams are looking forward to that 2023 quarterback draft, where if they don't extend Cousins again, then you're talking about maybe having to draft a quarterback at that point.